So good afternoon, champions. So welcome to our today's analysis. Hoping that your week is still going on according to the plan. So on Monday, I talked about what would happen to the euro, and looking at the euro USD, you can see that it is still coming. It is still approaching, nearly approaching the target that we are targeted. We had targeted before. That is on Monday, and you can see that we are just waiting for the breakdown. I mean, a breakdown to the downside, but for now it is just appreciating to get to this particular level. So this is a very strong point of resistance, this region. For more, you can just look at the video analysis that we did on Monday. Yes, so today will be looking at the GBP card. So looking at the GBP card, so we'll start from higher time frame, and then we are going to lower to come down to the smaller time frame. So looking at the market of the, that is the GBP card, from the monthly time frame, you can see that we have been experiencing a lot of downward general movement. That is the downward movement of the GBP card, followed by some upward movement, but then still respecting that downward pattern. So you can see that this trend line, the upper trend line, has always been respected. And then you can see that for the longest time possible, we have been experiencing a lot of consolidation in this area. So I'll just concentrate on what has been happening in this particular consolidation that we are seeing here, because that is where we are going to have our entry from. Um, and that will help us. Will be going to the downward time frames. So looking at it, you can see that after attached to this particular level, that is the trend line that is above here, we had a downward movement to this particular point of support, an upward movement to this particular point of resistance, point of support. We had this W formation, a signal that the markets were moving toward the upside. And then we had another downward movement. You can see that it came to this point of support. So you can see previously this was our point of support based on this particular area here. So it came down to this particular point of support, came up to this particular point of resistance. We had a breakout, so we can see that there was a break below this particular point of support here, a downward movement, and then we had a move to the upside again. Then this particular point of support was respected this time round, and then we had a move to the downside, a move to the upside, a move to the downside, upside, downside, and then an upside again. So currently you can see that we are in the downward movement. So currently at this particular point of support, what I can be expecting is the markets may decide to create a downward movement to these particular levels before further moving toward the upside. You can see again the markets are respecting this particular trend line that is here, this particular trend line that is here. So there is not much to say when it comes to the monthly time frame. Only that we can see that we inside this upward movement, we have got kind of a downward trend that is still here. So I'm just waiting to see if the markets are going to move further to the downside and respect these two particular trend lines that are here. So let us move to the weekly time frame. So looking at the markets from the weekly time frame, you can see we are still on that consolidation. So you can see that we had a lot of consolidation, a lot of downward movement, upward movement, but then we are still in between. We are not making any trend that is between the upward trend and the downward trend. We are just consolidating at one point. So you can see that we had a move from these particular levels here to this particular highs. I'm just concentrating on this area. I'm just concentrating on this area here. So you can see that we had a move from this particular level to this particular highs, came down to this particular point here, a move to the upside, a move to the downside again, a move to the upside. So you can see that we have got a lot of consolidation in this area. So what I'm currently looking at, you can see that since we have had several touches to the upside, and only one touch the downside, what I kind of feel is that the markets may try to break to the downside to come to this particular level and create a touch below here. So that is what I'm expecting, especially since that we have been experiencing a lot of touches to that is to the upside. And if that breakout happens, you can see that here we had our first. This was kind of a false confirmation that the markets were breaking below, but then the market decided to move above. But I hope that won't happen in these particular areas here, because you can see that when the market had touched this particular point of support, so instead of focusing on coming at least to these highs, the markets came down to these particular highs. That is one of the signs that the market may be preparing themselves to create a breakout the downside. So this particular point of resistance that is here can be a point where the markets are trying to gain momentum before they further move towards the downside to these particular levels that are here. So let us move to further to the daily time frame. So looking at the market from the daily time frame, you can see now inside that consolidation, you have got this perfect upward trend that is being created. That is from the daily time frame. You can see that we had a general move to the downside, a break below, but then a move to the upside again, a move to the downside. Then we had this creation of a nice pattern. So you can see that the market decided made this to become a point of support, because previously it acted as a point of resistance. So you can see we had attached to this level, attached to these highs here. We had a move to the downside to this particular point of support, a move to the upside again, M formation, general M formation, or the double triangle, that is a downward movement to this particular level. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting that now, because the market have gone to these particular highs, so they may come back for a retest to this particular point of support that is here, before gaining momentum to touch this particular levels that is here. This is from the daily time frame. This is from the daily time frame. But that, if that does not happen, then I'm sure that if the market will be able to break if the market will be able to break below, if the market are going to come from these particular levels here and break below this particular trend. So you can see that they are following. You can see that we have got the upper trend that is here, and also this lower trend line that is here. If the market will be able to break below this particular trend line, that is let me do this. So if the markets will be able to break below these particular levels that are here, then it will be a clear sign that the markets are surely ready to move towards the downside, that is, and will be expecting, if they break below this particular point of support, then we are expecting a downward movement to continue forming towards the downside, that is. So moving to the hourly time frame. So looking at the market from the hourly time frame again, as we have discussed from the daily time frame, you can see that I have prepared myself. I'm just waiting for an upward movement, and that is if the markets are going to break above this particular point of support that has this time round acted as a point of resistance. You can see this two green red candlestick that is here. So if it breaks above, and then I'll be expecting the markets are going to rise to these particular highs that are here. So I'll be targeting a total of 200 pips for a risk of just 48 pips. But then if that does not happen and the market decide to move toward the downside, then I'll be waiting for the market to move below. So you can see I've got this particular level that is here. So if the market move below this particular point here, then that is a clear sign that we still have got that we still have got that downward trend that is still going on. So that is all that I had for today for you for the GBP card. So you can continue the same way. So this is the general analysis about the week, especially on the GBP card, and mine is just to look for more positions. I'll be sending in more signals whenever they come into this particular group. So do have a great day and the remaining part of the week, and may the pips always be with